Catherine Cole is a professor in the Department of Theater, Dance, and Performance Studies. Many of you are aware of the letter that she wrote to her students that is circulated around the campus and the campuses. The title of her talk, Are UC Cuts Inevitable? No Condition is Permanent. Catherine.
That I stand before you here tonight is a miracle. 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with a rare, aggressive cancer in my thigh. Had I been diagnosed in 1989, I would surely be dead by now. At that time, the only treatment for sarcomas was amputation, and even then, most patients died. Fortunately, there were tremendous medical advances in just 10 years. Fortunately, I found well-trained doctors, even in a relatively small California city, who made astute decisions during the course of my diagnosis and treatment. They made critical judgment calls about referrals and diagnosis. They knew that they should not attempt a biopsy locally, but rather refer me to a major research university. At the UCLA Medical Center where I was referred, I was treated by leading oncologists, doctors and professors who were fully apprised of current research and also were actively engaged in advancing knowledge and creating new treatment options. Despite all their best efforts, I did eventually lose my entire left leg in a protracted 2-year battle. But far more importantly, these doctors saved my life. Even though I was told that people with high-level amputations, such as mine, cannot use a functional prosthetic, I am now able to walk and travel freely around the world doing my research by using a sophisticated prosthetic device, a device created through research innovation. As I reflect back on the labyrinth of doctors who treated me, they share a common background. All were educated, did their residencies, or now work at research universities. In fact, the most common denominator among them is the University of California. That I stand before you here tonight is a miracle. It's a testament to the miracle of the University of California and the contributions it makes to the people of the state of California, our nation, and the world. Today, the future of that miracle is endangered. Skyrocketing student fees, faculty and staff pay reductions, layoffs, and program closures are some of the legible indications of this erosion. But the full dimensions of what is happening are not yet visible, at least not to students. It is for this reason that faculty and staff working in solidarity with students have set aside tomorrow, September 24th, as a day of action in the whole UC system. The goal of the walkout is to make visible to all the members of our campus and to the people of the state of California what is at stake for the state and indeed the nation if we allow the collapse of public education in California. We also want to make visible the way in which our current UC administration is dismantling the very things that have made the UC the best public university in the country. It takes decades to build up a public research university of this caliber. It will take only 1 year or two to seriously erode this institution, which has for 140 years been an engine of California's economy. It is not too late to intervene. There are nearly 250,000 students in the UC system, 500,000 in the Cal State system, thousands more in community colleges, and 6 million students in the K through 12 levels. What would happen if your generation mobilized on behalf of public education in the state of California? As we saw during our last presidential election, your generation has vast powers of mobilization via the internet, Twitter, Facebook, email, chat rooms, and your cell phones, powers that far surpass that of any generation before you. You can make a difference, and faculty and staff are committed to working side by side with you. You will be at the forefront of this movement. We will be your guides. Students, you will face in your futures more complex and rapidly changing circumstances than perhaps any generation before you. You will have to think outside the box. You will need not only to understand existing paradigms, you will also need to invent new ones. You will need not only to possess advanced critical thinking skills so that you can cut to the heart of complex problems that are even seemingly intractable, and you will also need imagination to find viable and effective solutions. It is precisely for such challenges that the University of California prepares its students. We prepare you for these challenges because we are a public research university. We prepare you by teaching our research, which is at the cutting edge of knowledge. How many universities have their very own additions to the periodic table of the elements, as we do? Lawrencium and Berkeleyum. The US has a whole spectrum of types of higher education, ranging from community colleges and state schools to liberal arts colleges and public and private universities. The Carnegie Foundation classifies the University of California at the furthest edge of this spectrum as a research university with very high research productivity. This means that the faculty who teach your classes do the things that you are going to need to do for your future. We create new knowledge and find original solutions to complex problems. We don't just recycle old ideas in the classroom, we actively participate in making new knowledge. And we do so with you, our students, as both our first audience and our collaborators. And yet, Berkeley's status as a research university is under threat. Our reputation is based on the research prowess of its faculty, not the status of its administrators. When was the last time the University of California received a Nobel Prize for administration? As you've heard, since 1992, UC management has grown by a staggering 283%. Is such astounding growth necessary? Students demand accountability and transparency from this administration. The Office of the President rationalized its recent decision that faculty should not take furloughs on days of instruction by saying that our paramount mission in the UC is teaching. Students, you were promised a degree at a research university, not a teaching college. Demand to receive the education that you have paid for. The University of California also prepares you for your futures by being public. To a degree unmatched by any other state in the 20th century, California embraced public higher education as a tool of socioeconomic engineering, says historian John Aubrey Douglas. The whole purpose of a public university is to conduct our teaching and research for the public good. And by that, I mean contributing to producing new knowledge, promoting service, and social mobility, so that education doesn't just help the rich get richer, it helps the poor and middle class get access to brighter futures. We offer admission to students across a whole economic spectrum. Berkeley has more students on Pell Grants, the federal funding for the most needy college students, than all the Ivy League schools combined. The conversations that happen in our classrooms are qualitatively different and I would argue far richer and more complex because of this diversity. If our admissions policy shifts from educating for the public good of California to educating only individuals who can afford to pay the full costs of their education, our student body will become more homogeneous, certainly socioeconomically, but also racially, ethnically, and in many other regards. This results in a type of segregation, and segregation is never good. Believe me, Believe me, I'm from Detroit. I know. Believe me, I study South Africa. I know. Your education and the reputation of your degree will be impoverished by the loss of this extraordinary, celebrated feature of the University of California at Berkeley. The breathtaking diversity of its student body and the state of California will be impoverished, for its citizens will be far less prepared to address proactively and with ingenuity the challenges we will surely face in the coming decades. Being public also means that the UC believes in shared governance. Management of the university is divided between administrators who are charged with ensuring the material conditions of the success of the university, and the academic senate of tenure and tenure-track faculty who guide and chart its academic mission. Shared governance gives the faculty both a voice in and responsibility for the operation of the university, and represents a guiding force that unifies the 10 campuses of the university into a single system under a uniform standard of excellence. I would like to recognize Henry Powell, who is the chair of the entire UC System Academic Senate. The UC's famous tradition of shared governance has been seriously undermined by President Udolph's recent actions. The examples of this are many, but chief among them, in my estimation, was the formation of a Regents Commission on the future of the UC. This ambitious commission on the entire future of our institution was formed with little faculty consultation, limited faculty representation, and an impoverished, anemic conception of what education is all about. Faculty should be centrally involved in defining the terms, mandate, and membership of any commission charged with envisioning the future of the University of California. As researchers, we know that how you frame a problem powerfully determines outcomes. Evidence of the budget cuts hits us daily. Mid-year fee hikes are just the latest news, but the decline in state funding started long ago. California's per-student spending for UC education has fallen by nearly 40% since 1990. Students, is such a decrease in public funding of your education necessary? Are these cuts inevitable, given the current economic climate? Our top administrators will often use this language of inevitability, but many bright, incisive researchers among the UC faculty who I might mention, routinely advise that other president, the one in Washington. Our faculty believe that the sustained degradation of financing for public education is neither necessary nor inevitable. The majority of Californians do want public education. The problem is that we are the only state in America that is governed by minority rule. A 1/3+1 minority in the legislature can overrule the will of the majority because of Proposition 13. But there is hope. Minority rule can be overcome. Apartheid South Africa was also governed by minority rule. 20% of its population controlled 80% of its resources. But this unjust and amoral system was dismantled by grassroots activism, including boycotts and protests mobilized on this very campus on our very own Sproul Plaza. If Berkeley can mobilize effectively to end minority rule in South Africa in the 1980s, surely we can do the same for our own state in 2009. In the long run, we need to convince the people of the state of California to repeal Proposition 13, overturn minority rule, and restore funding to public education. The state must become a reliable partner in financing the university, just as the UC has been for the past 140 years, a reliable partner in giving California's sons and daughters one of the best educations in the world. The UC Office of the President and the Board of Regents should be effective, articulate advocates for the University of California. They should be regularly delivering compelling public speeches that persuasively argue for the value of the UC. Speeches like this one, but even better. I hereby challenge them to do so. Such advocacy is what our top administrators in the Office of the President are getting paid to do. Students, demand that you get your money's worth. But restoring state funding will take time. We can't wait that long to address our immediate fiscal crisis. Budget cuts are being implemented now, even as I speak. Choices about where the cuts happen are always ideological, expressing a certain set of values. A university's reputation takes decades to build, but it can be dismantled in a very short time. The University of California will be at the top of your resumes for the rest of your life. You are shareholders in this institution's present and future. You, along with alumni, faculty, administrators, staff, and the regents, must be vigilant trustees of its reputation. Demand transparency about our budget. Demand that the faculty who are so central to the university's reputation have a central role in managing budget decisions during these difficult economic times. We hear a lot of talk about the unprecedented nature of the current crisis. Such statements often license those in power to take extraordinary actions and to suspend democratic processes. I learned of President Udolph's declaration of a state of fiscal emergency while I was in South Africa this summer, a place where the memory of states of emergency under apartheid sends shudders down the spine of everyone who lived through it. But is our present moment unprecedented? We are currently experiencing a 20% drop in state funding, which is certainly a significant sum. However, during the Great Depression, the UC weathered an even worse economic storm. We had a 26% drop in funding from the state. What is unprecedented is the degree and character of mobilization that has happened in just the last month. Never before in the history of the University of California has there been such unanimous solidarity across all campus systems, system-wide, and across the fault lines that typically divide faculty and students, staff and faculty, lecturers and professors, and the unions who represent our staff workers. Even other states are rallying on our behalf. The University of Arizona has organized a day of action for tomorrow to protest sweeping budget cuts at their university and to show solidarity with us. They know that as California goes, so goes the nation. Public education in America must be saved. You are witnessing the beginnings of an unprecedented movement. You have a chance to be part of history. Those of you assembled here tonight, the esteemed faculty who the University of California has spent decades attracting and adding to its ranks, the capable staff who make all our operations from admissions to facilities run smoothly and efficiently, the administrators who have chosen to serve our institution by standing in solidarity with faculty, staff, and students, and most of all, the talented, curious, innovative, and astonishingly diverse students of the University of California, Berkeley. Together, we are the solution to the present crisis. Working together, I believe we can convince the public, your parents, our neighbors, our legislators, our governor, the UC regents, and perhaps even a few misguided UC administrators, that the fundamental features of the University of California's identity, our accessibility, affordability, democratic processes, public trust, and our commitment to research, teaching, and public service are not only worth preserving, they are actually the road to a secure, prosperous, just, and humane future for the state of California and the nation. There is nothing about our present economic crisis that is necessarily inevitable or permanent. No condition is permanent, say the Yoruba people of Africa. Remember that as you listen tonight and as you think, learn, and take action in the coming weeks. The University of California is a miracle, like the fact that I am standing here. It is a miracle worth celebrating and preserving.